So let me get started, with my first question. And what we would like to hear from you, Mr. Sharma, is tell us some stuff about yourself. Okay. Uh, where did you grow up? How did, this Capri, you're a co-founder at Capri Global. How did the idea come up? What are you doing? What are your plans? Just like an icebreaker question. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for taking time out and scheduling this. I think it can be a very interesting discussion. So I grew up in Rajasthan, a village called Mukundgarh, a part of Jhunjhunu district. And after doing my commerce graduation, I came to Mumbai to pursue chartered accountancy course. 1992, I qualified, and initial 4 years I did the job. And thereafter, I decided that there are a lot of opportunities to start our own. So we started our practice of debt investment bank, where I realized that while their banks are lending to everybody who is able to offer documentation, including income proof, income tax return, books of account, but on the other side, there vast number of borrowers are there who are not able to show their income in the books, or they do not have adequate income proof, thereby they either not able to grow, or they resort to Mahajans and the high interest rate money lenders who lend very short period but very high rate of interest, and they are not able to really come out of them many times. So we studied how overseas in other Western countries this has happened. The same cycle will get repeated with us. And then we decided that we should address the lending business which serves the underserved market, which can be MSME, which can be for home loan purposes. That is how we started. While we have currently about 2,000 employees and about 93 physical branches, and majorly we are into lending to MSME, affordable housing, and some affordable developers. And with the help of 93 branches, I think we are 80% with the retail portfolio focused on small customer. And we have remained by and large on our strategy, which we formulated 9 years ago.
So, Mr. Sharma, do you agree that modernization is a necessary component for digital transformation in financial institutions? I think we know the answer to that, but I'd love to hear from you. And, what kind of opportunities will digital transformation and modernization create?
So digital transformation definitely is required by everybody to the extent possible. So it will vary from customer segment to customer segment. While to lending and catering to a salaried customer, everything can be digitally possible. However, in case of small loans, consumer loan, everything is happening digitally by many companies. But where the property mortgage is involved and where income proofs are not available, then back-end processing can be done digitally and on the system, but front-end, still a lot of things are required to be done by meeting the customer, by visiting the customer. I think modernization will require digitization in a big way. Now, digitization coupled with the data science, where a lot of predictive analysis, future analysis can happen and decision making can be faster. This will give a opportunity across even smaller town people to understand, choose their lender, various product profile. So I think this is not only going to increase the offering, but this is also going to reduce the cost of operation. So I believe this digital, a company running from say smaller city or maybe big city doesn't make a difference. Anybody across from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, any customer can approach through system and upload their profile or required data, and decisioning can happen quickly. So I think that cost is going to reduce. In a longer term, it is a product which will make a difference, and the lending may become by and large commoditized. Who can deliver fast, who can deliver a competitive pricing, is going to be the key next for 5 to 10 years. So distribution coupled with the right product, right costs.
Siddhartha, from your perspective, what have you been seeing? What opportunities are getting created with digital transformation, modernization, whatever you want to kind of call it?
Yeah. So taking the point that Mr. Sharma mentioned, and very rightly so, that it is a game changer from various ways and for various segments of customer. I would want to add one part, which is ecosystem is becoming very, very key into this entire digitization and digital. So let me take an example. And before that, let me talk of some trends that we are seeing in the NBFC and in the financial services market in India. So one of the things that we are seeing is lending, or let me put it, asset purchase, asset finance, and asset insurance is gradually converging. Say earlier, a home buyer would not only buy a home, but also take a mortgage loan in the same premise and also look for an insurance in the same premise. That's on the asset side, or maybe on a smaller, an iPhone. When we are going and purchasing on, say, a Flipkart or Amazon, we are buying it, we are taking the EMI, as well as we are taking the insurance on top of that. So there is a convergence. That is possible again through digital and digitalization. A similar trend, if we look at the entire decision cycle is becoming shorter and shorter and shorter by day. So it is also again important that whatever we commit, we are able to give that to the customer through digital in that kind of a turnaround time, and not wait for a 2-day, 3-day, 5-day, 7-day turnaround time. So given few of these, and I'll talk of more trends as we progress, is some things that Mr. Sharma mentioned is the way forward, is the only rather way forward. So completely agree, and that's the way the ecosystem driven NBFCs, banks, and other financial institutes are moving forward.
Mr. Sharma, what would you say have been, Capri's key accomplishments in modernization that have, given business advantage?
So, as I told, we are catering to those customers who otherwise cannot be catered by banks. So, we are complement to this system. These customers essentially like a bike repairing shop, or a kirana store in tier 3, tier 4 towns, or a sandwich samosa selling a small enterprise opposite a college, running that business in last few years, now wanted to set up a permanent small restaurant. If he needs a loan, how to underwrite that loan? How to do that in a faster turnaround time, in a cost-efficient manner, which can meet his requirements. So, tailor-made underwriting requirement, understanding his need, visiting his business premises, those are still required manual. But back-end processing can be done on the system. Entire pool of such customer can be analyzed. Collection trend can be analyzed, and policies can be accordingly fine-tuned. Which are the profile paying better, those interest rate can be lowered. So those analysis, those data analytics, those trend, those policy intervention can happen based on the system analysis, and back-end processing from login file till disbursement, post-care can be done in the system. However, front, meeting the customer, assessing his underwriting, and visiting his residence, all that still we need to do in our kind of a very unique kind of a underserved market business. But backend entirely is done on the system, technology, digital dashboards, MIS, all that is in place. And we have done a lot of work. We have taken the help of big accounting firm and consulting firm like KPMG and the Boston Consulting Group to advise on these matters.
Obviously customer experience in any services business, especially financial institutions, is critical. What strategies have you all adopted to focus on this success factor to, increase your top line and help even boost the overall economy, if we can talk of that?
So our strategy is to be complementary to the banking system, serve those customers which are not being catered today by the banks, be it private sector, be it public sector. So we are reaching to the last mile, those small customers where otherwise money is not available to them, credit is not available to them. Understand their requirement, make them available money at affordable rate. And these customers run their business on return on efforts, not return on equity. For them, getting money on timely and getting adequate money will. So, for example, a fruit vendor whose son has become now adult, wanted to start his own, to open the another corner of the city, one shop for him to become a self-reliant is his dream. Now, to get a 20 lakh rupees loan, bank will not give, but we will assess and we will give. And that is, I think, where we are making a positive social impact. We are catering to that which otherwise cannot be catered by the formal banking channels. And I think that way is enough scope in the country. ASPAC, CRISIL and SIDBI report almost 51 million such MSME units are there who are under MSME and who are not catered by the banking system. So that is the space we are very excited to cater to.
You know, I'm sure you know this data. Both of you all will know this data better than me. But SME has also been a very passionate area for me because I believe that's the foundation of any economy. Germany, whilst we know a handful of companies that we are of, Bosch and Siemens and Mercedes and BMW, I told that close to 90% of Germany's economy is SME driven. So indeed, companies like yours, Capri Global are playing a great role in kind of helping the economy. The more companies, the merrier, the better. Will create a better foundation. So.
I wanted to bring to your attention that this terminology SME or MSME at times is generalized and sometimes it is little overlapping and confusing. So I call it MSME should be always decided by ticket size. So MSME, micro and small medium enterprises, thereby what I internally and widely understood is if a loan below 50 lakh rupees, below 40 lakh rupees kind of loan. SME are those customers sometimes which are catered by bank also and which are catered by NBFC also. But if we talk about MSME sector, which is contributing in India's economy, SME, MSME put together, almost exports are 37%. And they are making a big positive. I think if we have to create employment generation, this sector need to be given a boost. I was asked in one such a platform by government officials, what exactly NBFC requires support to give MSME lending. I said NBFCs are getting adequate money in the system. What is required really is by the government is the MSME gets more orders, more business. If they get more orders, more business, more importance, and their technology side, technical side help with the government by whether getting the land, by getting the electricity, by getting the orders, be it construction tenders or be anything else, that will propel the growth of MSME and self-employment. And if they are healthy, money will not be a problem.
Sir, as per studies, organizations who adopted technology have had distinctive advantages, which, in turn result in, differentiated a better performance. What were some of your top key technology adoptions to gain competitive advantage?
So I want to tell you very honestly what I believe. Technology is going to be available for everybody. So technology is per se not going to be make distinctly competitive advantage. It is how you use the technology. So in few years, I think technology will be available to anybody. It's like the iPhone. Everybody has iPhone. How you use it to effective communication and that differs from person to person. So as far as Capri is concerned, we have adopted the eKYC. We have adopted the digitally our collection modules, which give every collection executive a tablet on the app on their phone, whereby they can issue the receipt, online receipt, where they can update the collection on immediately when they collect the check in form through app. We also have the scoring model based on the data available, whether there is high risk customer, low risk customer, or medium risk customer, thereby pricing the customer accordingly. Instantly, we can check the CIBIL score through telephone, through app, and we can tell the customer whether we can accept his file or not, whether he has some default track record or not. So there are onboarding is being done by Capri, adopting the digital tools of Aadhaar KYC and video KYC. There are digital tool to collection side and even predictive side, which are the customer can go in early warning signal, and also on the underwriting side based on the data, what category of this customer is.
How large is the technology team? Or what is your, if you can share, budget outlay? Technology is important for a company like Capri Global.
So we have recently hired a CTO who was working in a very large company, and earlier he was in Akash Tutorial, which is taken over by Byju. We already have about 15 people's team, and besides in-house team, we also seek active help of consulting firms on a project-to-project basis. So like suppose if you launch the new product, then rather than you have everybody expert inside, our team can engage with one of the best person who can handle this and then coordinate with the internal requirements of it. So sometimes you have to have the both strategy, that internal team along with the outside available best of the consultant.
The past couple of years have seen a increased trend of platform business models emerging in financial services. What is your perspective on the benefit of this to NBFCs, and what's the way forward?
On the platform business model, what we are looking at when it comes to a combination of fee-based and a non-fee-based income being the pivot for the NBFCs to fuel growth. So let me take one or two examples. Say our equipment finance company, while earlier they were looking at predominantly asset-backed lending, is now building a marketplace which includes both asset-backed as well as non-asset-backed, where they can actually transfer some of the assets to say a bank or another NBFC, and so on and so forth. And again, this is fueled by the regulation, which is co-lending regulation that has come in around 2 to 3 years back. So again, that has fueled that. Or again, from a platform business perspective, we see SBI YONO, which is known as largest platform business in the country. Or again, there are agri-based platform business model where banks and NBFCs are looking forward to kind of bring in the farmers, bring in the lenders, and enable and equip the farmers with, say, weather data, enabling and equipping the farmers with, say, the loan data, or for that matter, crop data, crop price data, and so on and so forth. So, and NBFCs and banks, and specifically NBFCs in particular, in this platform model, is not only giving loans, but pivoting and servicing the needs of the customer that they have with them. And because they understand the customer so very well, their needs and their entire life cycle, so that is something that is flourishing as we are moving forward. And there are many and many examples that as IBM, we are working with our customers, be it on the equipment finance side, be it on the transport side, agri side, or for that matter, SBI YONO, and so on and so forth. So that's a fantastic area that the country is taking forward.
Sir, again, what are your views around open innovation, broader collaboration in order to unlock, new opportunities, fresh opportunities? What has been done by, Capri in this direction?
So when we study our customer segment, we find a lot of opportunities are emerging for us The same customer, can we fund their two-wheeler requirement? Same customer, can we fund them their second-hand car purchase? Can we fund them their gold loan requirement? Because the kind of customer we serve are a different category altogether. And they are requiring these kind of financial assistance. Or can we fund them after some time when their track record is worse? Can we fund them unsecured loan instantly? So these are the three, four ideas we are working on with, and we have seen that the kind of customer we fund in a small town like Amravati or maybe in Anand, there are the customer who require the money for these things. So we are in the process to build the product and technology. We are already working on launching the gold loan. So already our consulting firm who is advising us is working on this aspect. And maybe in 6 months' time, we should be able to do the trial pilot launch and then do the commercial launch of this. And we can keep adding, but our theme will remain the same. Same kind of customer, which are the other requirements we can service, rather than we add the new category of customer.
With the advent of OCEN, which is Open Credit Enablement Network, and account aggregators, how do you all see lending in specific and financial services broadly evolve in the Indian market?
So I think with this account aggregator coming to play, as I said, information data will be available. And how somebody can make use of the data and can do this suitable offering. So once this matures, finally the lending will become so commoditized completely. So you get money from X or Y or Z will not make a difference. Money you get at a cost which is competitive, at a convenience of yours, for a requirement which meets completely. I think these are the things going to be differentiating factor. So I think going forward, gradually, it will not be branding. It will be service offering, product offering, and within a sharp turnaround time, in a most convenient manner, somebody can get money. I think that is going to define this. So banking will completely get changed.
Won't pricing also be a differentiator?
Pricing may not be that differentiator, but of course, pricing differentiator in the sense that you cannot be way beyond the market. You have to be in line with the market. Either your age can be exact offering or your age can be best pricing. Some age everybody has to achieve, some niche everybody has to create.
Thank you. Siddhartha, how do you, where do you see this kind of going with OCEN and aggregators? Where are you all seeing it?
That's a great question, Hosi. So I'm taking Mr. Sharma's point forward. So account aggregators is now only not allowing us to do an asset-backed lending, but a cash flow-based lending. So with this information that is now going to be available of my investments, my insurance, or my savings account holdings, my fixed deposits, plus the credit bureaus that is already there in the country, the credit registry that is going to come up very soon. So all of these, with that confluence coming together, with account aggregators playing that role, will change the entire industry. So I would rather put it, and taking again some of the points made earlier, KYC in an online with video KYC or Aadhaar based, UPI, so that entire payment mechanism coming together, and now account aggregator. The three confluences together will change the industry to a real-time sachet-size loan. Real-time sachet-size loan is the way to kind of go forward, based on not just asset but the cash flows. So and this is where the SMEs, MSMEs, the micro finance organizations will again leapfrog, because they know the customer best. They understand when is the cyclicality of a customer, what is the regular flow of income for the customer. So all of that aspect will now get enabled through OCEN and account aggregators along with UPI and Aadhaar that has already been laid as foundations. So again, a fantastic set of reforms and dimensions that has come in.
Obviously, you got technology all over your company now, and with technology come security issues. Okay, what have you been facing in terms of security, and how have you been dealing with it? In an effective manner. Cyber security issues that would be rampant for sure. Nobody wants to talk about
for everybody, for every organization, including lending companies, it's very important to have their data very safe. So cyber security is of utmost importance. If our data goes out, anybody can know who are our best of the customer and can do the balance transfer. So that is a very big risk. So with the great effort, out of 100 customer, 35 customer you convert as your customer. If those 35 data goes out, it can be a big risk. Similarly, employees database, it goes out. So every data is important, be it customers' data, be it our underwriting data, be it our employees' data. So there is enough focus on data security. Along with data can also be jeopardized by some event. So that data recovery center keeping a backup is also created. We have recently given one assignment for creating an entire data mart and also safety of the data. I think that project will also get implemented in next 6 months' time. So it's a dedicated, our internal team and KPMG is working on this. So we are strengthening, and this is an ongoing exercise. This is not something which can be done once and you achieved it. No, this is the ongoing thing for everybody. I think data is very, very important.
What would you say are the biggest challenges that are faced by your industry? We did touch upon this in a very small way in one of the earlier questions. What are the large challenges you're seeing for your sector?
Challenge is in terms of that, how do you reduce your cost of operation? In our business, you borrow at market-driven cost of the funds from banks. You lend in a competitive environment to a customer in given set of rate of interest. So for example, suppose you borrow at 8%, you lend at 12%. Your margin is, so borrowing at 8% is more or less market driven. Lending of 12% more or less market. So that 4% spread differ between company and company B is what is your operating cost. So biggest challenge for us, we should scale in a manner that we are able to optimize our resources to reduce the operating cost, thereby improving profitability and remain in that range. So I think all lending companies, and we also face that challenge. During last 2 years pandemic, most of the time we were working either at nil capacity or 30% capacity thereby, but you're all fixed cost, be it rent, be it your salary, it all remains same. So in our business, I think operating costs always remain the challenge. Thereby you can reduce it by effectively improving your processes, improving your technology piece, improving your digital piece, and thereby also mixing the product which have higher technology intervention. I think this challenge will continue to remain. This is not something monopoly item. And lending is not about a great idea. It is about great execution.
What changes do you see yourself implementing? What significant changes do you plan to bring in the next couple of years in order to maintain and grow your company's leadership?
So changes, we require two things, constant basis. That how our employees' skill set continuously get enhanced and how our processes continuously be much more sharper, so cutting around the turnaround time and reducing the cost. An entire focus is on this to improve the skill set of the people by training, by exposing them to external some of the courses or interactions, and internal frequent interaction, hire best of the people for the new opportunities available, new product launches. So I think that is one set of challenge, and continuously challenge ourselves in terms of improving our processes. I think these are the two things, and constantly we challenge ourselves. And market is such competitive that if you don't improve, market will throw anybody out. It is a competitive market, it is not something monopolistic market. So anybody is not efficient will go out of it.
What are the growth strategies that you all are seeing are being adopted by NBFCs in this new normal?
So if we talk about every NBFCs now, after a difficult time, first it started with ILFS and then Diwan housing. So there was a concern. Thereafter pandemic has happened. So there was no disbursement, moratorium, collection efficiency were affected. Now we are seeing normalcy coming back. So every company, including Capri, is geared up to achieve our full capacity, full potential of catering to the customer and achieve that disbursement ability. Last month, we achieved about 180 crore rupees disbursement. We intend to go to 300 crore rupees. So everybody wanted to achieve their full potential. Then I think every NBFC will try to capture the market in terms of more products, more offering, because there's enough scope. India, the advantage of our country is there's a lot of business opportunity, lot of entrepreneurship, lot of service offering potential is available. And that is, I think, everybody would like to leverage their people, processes, technology, their presence, their understanding in this.
We have seen lots of headwinds and going exactly starting from ILFS, DHFL, and obviously all those headwinds have hit us very, very hard. But NBFC industry, I think, has leveraged this challenge to their benefit. And I'll tell you how. So they have really taken this time and made themselves, one, nimble. So there is a significant amount of fixed cost reduction that they have enabled themselves. Second, they have actually brought in technology changes, especially during this pandemic period, to leapfrog into the next level. In parallel, the customer mindset has also changed because customer is now ready to consume those products and services in a digital way, which earlier people would have thought that I still need an NBFC branch, bank branch, people coming and visiting me. Today, customers are also agreeing to get into a video call and consume and absorb those products and services. So I would say NBFCs like Capri Global and the leading organizations like Capri Global has taken this headwind as a tailwind rather, and enabled them to become nimble and a leader in the market. And obviously, the benefits are visible as we move forward. So that's how I will summarize it. It's a beginning of a new era for the NBFCs as we progress.
No, I would say we are in a country at a time where we are working. It is very exciting opportunity for NBFC Housing Finance Company, not only to scale the business, but also to meet a lot of people who otherwise cannot be addressed by the formal banking channel, thereby creating a employment generation, helping those small people to realize their dreams, to realize their first home. A lot of women borrow who otherwise could not have thought to start a business. In fact, we have come out with a story of 21 women that what was their dream when we funded, how their families' overall living standard, kids' education standard have improved. So, in overall, we can help in nation building. We can really create a social impact, and yet you profit and purpose. Both you can achieve this. So, I think this is a great business opportunity, though it is competitive, but still, because there is a market potential exists, I think many companies together can thrive in this space. And many more can come. So this is a great opportunity for everybody to make this happen big. and help in overall economic development of smaller people in tier 3, tier 4 towns.
Yeah, the sheer scale of it is mind-boggling. I think any country would die for this kind of scale.
I would say that the way the NBFCs especially is working towards nation building, and with the new regulations coming and getting adopted by the NBFCs fastest, is really a right place to be in for this entire nation building exercise. So that is how I would put it.
Thank you. I have to thank both of you for joining me. Thank you, Mr. Sharma. Thank you, Siddhartha, for taking.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.